It's been said, smoking is hateful to the nose, harmful to the brain, and dangerous to the lungs. If you smoke, think about quitting. If you haven't started, don't pick up that cigarette. Hi there, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is Jamaica Magazine. Welcome. We're observing World No Tobacco Day, so the pages of the magazine are loaded with all the information you need to make the right choice for your health. We're also about wealth creation, and if that's your thing, Issues and Answers is a must-see. Stick around, we get down to business after a short break. In March, the Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO, gave business persons and investors a platform to connect and possibly strike up partnerships. I'm talking about the Jamaica Investment Forum. And in this week's Issues and Answers, Ian Boyne talks with JAMPRO's president, Diane Edwards, about the investment opportunities coming out of the event. That's next.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we talk about investments, the importance of investments and the relationship between investments and economic development. We have with us the president of JAMPRO, Diane Edwards, and she'll be shedding light on the things that JAMPRO has been doing. We'll also be talking about the Jamaica Investment Forum, a major forum which was held a few months ago in Montego Bay. We thank you so much for your company. Good to have you on the program, Dan.
Great to see you, Ian.
Yes, good to be together. The Jamaica Investment Forum was held a few months ago, big forum in Montego Bay. What have been the results, the concrete results from that?
Well, Ian, when you go into a program like that, you go in with certain objectives, and we were very clear on our objectives. We wanted a quality audience. We wanted to surpass what we had in 2012. We had 109 foreign investors in 2012. We wanted 150 this time. We didn't actually make that, but we made 133, which I think is pretty good.
Yes.
Secondly, we wanted to focus on 5 sectors, and so our targeting of those investors, remember this was an invitation-only conference, invitation of the Prime Minister. So we had to deliver quality, and we had to deliver people who are decision makers in their sectors. So I think we accomplished that. We had the hotel sector. We had 4 major new hotel chains which are not present in Jamaica actually scouting sites. So when they leave the conference to go and actually scout sites, that's when you know that they're serious. In the BPO sector, we had business process outsourcing, right, which has been topical. We wanted to attract some new players to the industry. We attracted at least 3 serious leads, people who have moved from just asking questions to now really wanting firm information on what sites can we look at. One of those companies had actually been with us in 2012, and as the CEO of that company, and this is actually one of the top 20 business process outsourcing companies in the world, he said to me, I came in 2012 just to look at Jamaica, now I've come to do business. That is a huge qualitative impact. In agribusiness, we had companies interested in doing agribusiness. We had a really brilliant breakout session in agribusiness. We also had light manufacturing, and we had financial services. For the first time, financial services was being discussed in a public forum. That hadn't happened before. So out of it, we got 34 serious leads, and what we qualify as leads is people who are now seriously interested in doing business and in the process of researching their options. and we achieved our objectives pretty much. So that means that we're now in a negotiation phase with 34 companies to try and convert them, as we call it, to real investment.
So Jamaica continues to be an important location for investment.
Absolutely.
And an attractive location for investment.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually our investment attraction has been significant over the last couple of years.
Definitely. If you look at 2012, I think we were at about 567 million US. And 2013, 14, we got to 700 million. So we're moving in the right direction.
Yes.
So we will
And we're
see
coming from the declines in the immediate
2008.
post, that's right, post-depression period.
Yeah. And remember that the world economy is still in the doldrums. It's still slow. It's China is still experiencing a slowing of their economy. So for us to be growing against the tide, I think is very important.
What are some of the things that we're doing right?
The rankings in the business, doing business, ease of doing business, World Bank, and the competitiveness report
That's right.
are growing.
Yes.
So we have gone, as you know, from 94 to position 58 in the doing business. The ease of doing business is improving. The government has embarked on a big program to facilitate business and to improve the ease of doing business. And JAMPRO is instrumental in that because we run what's called the National Competitiveness Council. And in that there are, gosh, I don't know, there are 100 different pieces of activity that we have to take to improve the business.
You coordinate that.
And we coordinate that. So some of the things that have come out of that is the secured interest in private property, which allows small and medium-sized businesses to leverage movable assets, not just immovable, but movable assets to gain secure financing. So out of that is also coming the DBJ, the Development Bank of Jamaica, is building their whole expanding their whole financial offering to SMEs.
Right, the president of JAMPRO, Dan Edwards, spending time with us, talking to us about investment initiatives and Jamaica as a location of investment. We take a break, but we'll be right back.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica. Original.
Talking investment and business with the president of JAMPRO, Dan Edwards. So you were talking about those initiatives, positive initiatives which are being taken. You mentioned the legislative changes.
Yes, absolutely. We're also working on improving
insolvency.
Insolvency.
Yes.
The Insolvency Act has come, and
That's
that's
important
because we really need to look at insolvency as a means of reorganizing a company, not a way to push people out of business, but to help them to stay in business, which is exactly what Chapter 11 in the U.S. does, and that this is our Chapter 11. In addition, we're looking at developing paperless trading and trade facilitation. So it's still too expensive to export from Jamaica. So we've got logistics issues that we are solving, and we've got soft logistics issues such as the port community system and the ASICUDA, which is a customs system.
Yes.
But the importance of this is that in about 18 months' time, you'll be able to do paperless trading with Jamaica. So that is part of the whole eGov. So it's putting everything online. So you'll be able to announce that your ship is coming in to port. You'll announce it 2 days before. You'll send a manifest. You'll send all the documents online. And you won't have to print documents and carry them from here to there. It'll all be online. So the logistics is a huge, huge issue, and the trade facilitation, because this is what is going to really galvanize our exports now and give them a competitive advantage in the market. So we're doing that right. We are succeeding in passing those IMF tests, don't underestimate what that
Passing IMF test
the
is
signal-
important.
Yeah, because the signal that gives to the
Business-
international
business
business
community.
community is that we're a good guy in financial terms and that we are sticking to a program, that there
Yes.
is stability, there's continuity, and there's fixity of purpose, all of that. So those are some of the things we're doing right. I would say that there's also a kind of new breath of fresh air in terms of the private sector, and the private sector
look at private
looking
sector.
at new opportunities for investment. We did a call for projects for the investment forum, and we ended up with projects worth $1 billion. That was the total amount
billion
of
projects.
projects. $1 billion of projects. So if all those projects were to be realized, we would have an injection of $1 billion capital in the economy. So what that means is that JAMPRO not only must help investors coming into the country, but must also market the investment projects of Jamaican companies seeking investment.
Is JAMPRO still paying a lot of attention on outward missions in promotion overseas?
In the last year, we've been to the Dominican Republic with 15 companies. We've been to Panama with 5 companies. We've been on two roadshows to the US with 5 companies each time. And these are companies that can actually, as we call it, move the needle in terms of exports. We've been to Cuba with 16 companies, the largest ever outward mission to Cuba. So what we're doing is looking at non-traditional regional markets.
What about Latin American markets like Brazil and...
The reason we haven't gone to Brazil is we have actually scoped the market, and what we find is Brazil is very protectionist. It's not that easy to get into Brazil. So there's opportunity there, but there are huge barriers to trade. And what we are doing, I think we have to focus. As you know, we have limited resources. The government is in a fiscal straitjacket, really.
Yes,
So we've got to be very focused about what we're doing, which doesn't mean that we're missing opportunities, but I think we will be able to deliver more results by being focused. And what we miss as a country is the consistent follow-up until we reach results. And I've told all my team that we have to be like a dog with a bone. So in other words, we don't let go of that bone until the results are there. So we don't want to spread ourselves too thinly.
Final minute, International Financial Center. And we've been talking for a long time about that. Are we any closer to that reality of really marketing the country as a major source of...
We're actually very close. We're within a hair's breadth of it now. There's been a lot of intensive work done by the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority, JIFSA, which is driving that charge. And they've been meeting to push through the legislation that will create this financial services hub. We're very close to doing that. I would say by around October of this year, we should be ready to actually go public with that. We actually had a discussion, a sort of soft launch of the concept at the Investment Forum, and it was really well received. And the key about it is we are not going to be a harmful jurisdiction. So we are not going to be a tax haven. We are a country that has signed international tax exchange treaties. We have double taxation agreements. We have complied with the FATCA legislation out of the US, which obliges us to report. So we are the good guys, if you want. So that will make us very attractive because we will be compliant internationally with the global forum that monitors these things.
Thanks so much for the information. President of JAMPRO, Diane Edwards. JAMPRO has a very important, very critical role to play in the economy. And the President has been saying that JAMPRO is, in fact, fulfilling its mandate. We thank you for your company. Until next week, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.
bad for your health. And when grown-ups smoke around us, we are breathing in their smoke too.
Cigarette smoking is bad for your health and the health of those around you. Don't smoke around children. A message from the Pan American Health Organization.
6 million persons across the globe die annually from tobacco use. Another 600,000 of those from passive smoking. Every 6 seconds someone dies from tobacco-related incidents.
Do you still need a reason not to smoke?
In Jamaica, the National Chest Hospital, 70% of the lung cancer cases are tobacco-related.
And believe it or not, there are even more reasons to never pick up that cigarette. Take a look.
We'll always have Paris.
A famous line from a famous movie. Casablanca became a classic film partly because of scenes like that one, depicting Bogart as the strong, handsome, romantic lead, rarely without a cigarette in hand. But a lot has changed since the movie's release in 1942. Billions of dollars have been spent worldwide trying to convince people that smoking is not cool, that it could send you to an early grave. Still, with all the anti-tobacco campaigns, the no smoking please, the bans on smoking in public spaces, the incidence of smoking-related illnesses that are on the increase, more people are dying. It's right there on the box, written in bold. Smoking can be dangerous to your health. But smokers keep on puffing, some several times a day. Doctors, policymakers, and even manufacturers of cigarettes tell us all the time, smoking is damaging to one's health. So why are people still lighting up?
It is true, definitely. Smoking is extremely harmful to health. It is a major cause of illness, disability, and death. It is said that half the persons who smoke on a long-term basis will end up dying from a smoking-related disease. But why do they smoke? Because of the addictiveness of the nicotine in the tobacco, which is used to make the cigarette and the other tobacco products.
Scientists say smoking inhaled from a cigarette contains 40 to 50 substances clinically proven to cause cancer.
Lung cancer is the number one smoking-related cancer, and would be extrapolated to be number one cause of death from smoking. But smoking does not only relate to cancer. Smoking also contributes to a whole host of other diseases, such as heart disease, heart attacks, diabetes, hypertension, strokes. All those diseases are adversely affected by smoking.
Say for instance, I'm at a bus stop and you have persons around me smoking. Am I affected?
You may be affected. That's very transient, however, and very short term. So the effect is dose related. So if you have a small dose, the impact on your body, on your health, will be in proportion to the dose that you get. But once you're exposed to tobacco smoke, usually in the form of cigarette smoke, you will have an increased risk of getting some kind of health-related problem.
Treating smoking-related illnesses like lung cancer is expensive. The Ministry of Health says it's putting additional pressure on meager resources. Smokers are often admitted to hospital for illnesses such as pneumonia, asthma, and other breathing disorders. What would you say to youngsters, adults, or even co-workers who still insist on lighting up even though they have all this information?
We would really like persons to consider the adverse effect that this habit has on them and on their loved ones, and to cease the habit.
Medical experts say if you smoke, you are likely to have a shorter lifespan than a non-smoker, 15 to 20 years less. So let's clear the air. Quit the habit so you can live a longer, healthier life.
The illicit trade of tobacco products is detrimental to your health and your interest. Here are just a few reasons why. Young people are more likely to experiment with these cheaper products, increasing their chances of getting hooked. Illicit tobacco brands don't usually display the health warning messages that legal tobacco manufacturers have to display on their labels. The illicit trade takes tax revenue away from the government, which could have been spent on necessary public services. The magazine takes a very short break now, but when we return, the latest on government's tobacco policy plans and what they mean for you.
Life is all about making decisions, choosing from a number of options to do a particular thing, which may result in a specific outcome.
It can be difficult, but there are 4 things you can do to help make that decision.
Stop.
Check out what's happening and remind yourself to think before acting.
Think.
Make sure you're aware of the choices, all the advantages and disadvantages. Then think about the consequences.
Act.
Choose the best option and do something about it.
Review.
Finally, review what you have done and determine if it was good or bad. That way, you'll be in a better position to make the next decision, whether big or simple.
Jamaica now is being seen by the global community as one of those countries that have taken the plunge, and not just taken the plunge relative to having regulations, but having what they consider to be an excellent regulations.
Jamaica takes its obligations under the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control very serious. And to that end, we had promulgated the Public Health Tobacco Control regulations.
What we have done thus far in relation to the tobacco regulations impacts on 3 particular articles, especially Article 8, Article 10 and Article 11 of the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, for which Jamaica was a signatory in 2003, and we ratified that convention in 2005. Those articles speak to the public smoking and its control. It speaks to the ingredients in relation to tobacco, and Article 11 that speaks to the graphic health warning, for which Jamaica succeeded in having 60%. With 60, we are in the top across the globe relative to graphic health warnings. It is our view that Jamaica has satisfied in a structured way the approach that has become a blueprint for many other countries. Only recently we sent a team led by Cheryl Dennis, our lawyer. We sent her to Guyana after they asked for help and support, and we sent a team in. The desire, and we are working towards that now, must be for comprehensive law. Significant amount of work is already done in terms of a draft. What is it that we're trying to do in relation to that comprehensive bill? The comprehensive bill now, while it will take into account most of the articles of the Framework Convention, the ones that we are deeply concerned about right now is Article 5.3, that speaks to the relationship with public officials that is of moment to us. Article 6, again, taxation. Of special moment would be Article 13, taps, tobacco, advertising, promotion, and sponsorship. That is of moment. This year, in terms of World No Tobacco Day, the focus is on Article 15 with the illicit trade, which is also of moment to us because of any tobacco, whichever way it enters the country, we know is bad for our people. We not only have completed the tobacco control regulations, but we have demonstrated that working with civil society groups and a collaborative approach to what is a difficult policy pursuit has worked out well for Jamaica. Our relationship with the Heart Foundation, our relationship with the Jamaica Tobacco Coalition, the other Cancer Society have helped us well.
And we wholeheartedly support the government's stated intent to move ahead with plans for comprehensive tobacco control legislation to protect our citizens from the devastating health and financial consequences of tobacco use.
So this is not just a situation where we're just mandated to put in place laws. We take our obligations seriously.
One of the things that I can say is that the government is trying, because secondhand smoke is very dangerous to persons overall, and the ban in itself, I think persons need to take it seriously and it needs to be enforced.
I guess in some places it is, but another part of it, like maybe sometimes even the coastal buses, they're still not following the rules.
Yes, it has impacted the public in a great way. However, there are still resistance in some of the places that are secluded, some of the small bars, some of the organizations who have long-standing smokers are still allowing this practice to go on.
The ban is a good thing in terms of our health and in terms of other things that you may want to go on to speak to in terms of your religious convictions and stuff. So I'm in favor of the ban. It's just the effectiveness of the ban that I'm concerned about.
I think it is working, especially in the bars and small shops and so forth, and at restaurants it's working.
What I'm seeing, yes, it is strictly adhered to in the workplaces. There's no smoking in the workplaces now. I don't think there's any workplace that can say smoking is going on.
It's better to not even try it than to endure the ramifications of either quitting, smoking, or dying. Words of American model Christy Turlington. That's our show. The information continues to flow on our website, jis.gov.jm. You may also follow us on Twitter at JIS News, and our YouTube channel, Watch JIS, has loads of videos and interviews. Also, send your comments to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. We'll be back on your TV station tomorrow. Until then, I'm Theodore Henry. On behalf of the hardworking team here at the JIS, have a wonderful Sunday.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.